Interesting little email from Mr. Jim Sinclair, gold guy extraordinaire, and he has some statistics given out by the Federal Reserve that they want banks to prepare for. Remember how they had these little stress test nonsense a while back? As if that did anything. They've got another one, kind of. And the Federal Reserve is asking the banks to prepare for unemployment rates at or above 12%. It says the Federal Reserve is asking 30 big banks to make sure their capital can withstand a deep recession in which the unemployment rate rises to 12%. You don't suppose that just a couple months ago, whatever it was, when the Federal Reserve announced we're going to be buying back mortgage-backed securities from the banks at $40 billion per month to give to the banks, minimum of $40 billion. You don't suppose the Federal Reserve was giving them all that money so that they could in fact withstand unemployment at or above 12%, while the other small banks, medium-sized banks who don't get federal bailouts from the Federal Reserve, who are not getting $40 billion a month like the big banks, you don't suppose they're going to go bankrupt and be shotgun married off to the big banks who have plenty of cash because the Fed's been giving it to them? You don't suppose that's about to take place over the next couple years, do you? Or longer, 3-4 years. You don't think that that's going to happen, do you? Well, you might, and here's why. You remember Lindsey Williams over 2 years ago, back when his buddy Ken Fromm was alive, the one who really gave him the best information of all, so, you know, to date, said, when this is all said and done, there's going to be somewhere between 6 or 9 major banks, and only those banks will be left in America. Currently, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands total, as far as, I don't mean branches, but actual bank names, you know, companies. There's at least hundreds and hundreds and hundreds throughout the U.S. What he was saying over 2 years ago was that his elite friend told him, all those banks are going to go away, and you're going to be left with somewhere between 6, maybe 9, between 6 and 9 different banks to choose from, ultimately. When all is said and done, with all the collapse and all the crap that happens in between, we're going to have a choice of somewhere between 6 and 9 banks. You're not going to be able to choose some other bank. I don't like these banks. These are the too big to fail banks. I'm taking my money to another too big to fail bank. Oh, that's funny. I only got 6 banks to choose from, and they're all the too big to fail banks. Hey, wait a minute. How did they end up surviving and every other bank in America was destroyed and shotgun married off all their assets to these big banks? So now the big banks are even bigger than they've ever been, are the king of the crop, so to speak, and it's going to go under the radar of everybody, because they're not just going to let these small banks fail all at once or medium banks fail all at once. It's going to be a bunch of them over here, bunch of them over there. A few months goes by, 6 months, and a bunch of them over here, bunch of them over there. Little consolidation. Then the next thing you know, if there was any medium banks that consolidated the smaller banks, it's called the big fish eat little fish. The big fish at the end eats the medium-sized fish. That medium-sized fish ate the little fish. And again, the grouper, the Goliath grouper, also used to be known as the Jewfish, ate all of the fish, all by biting the one medium-sized fish. Because the medium-sized fish ate the small fish ate the tiny fish, and there's only one big fish left, and that's the too big to fail banks. So according to Jim Sinclair, he's read this from the Fed literally yesterday or the day before. It's dated yesterday. He says the Fed stressed they were not making economic forecasts. We're not saying that 12% unemployment's coming, so don't go there. But rather hypothetical scenarios designed to assess the strength of financial institutions in stressful economic environments such as 12% unemployment or higher. So having read that last night and just refreshing myself on my laptop while I sit here, and if you're wondering how well JSNP4 does what he does, sometimes, that's how I handle things. Right there. Got the old, I usually don't read that when I'm in the car. Actually, like when I do my videos, I normally do that. Like, I'll print a piece of paper out and sit in the car. But I'm actually traveling for probably 50 minutes right now back to my job, so I forgot exactly what all it said, so I want to just pull that up so I can refresh my memory, do the video. So, as the Fed said, we're not going to say that we're going to have little piddly little 12% unemployment when other countries like Spain are at 25 and higher percent. And Greece is ungodly. I don't even know where they're at. We're just looking at just a hypothetical 12%. Right. That hypothetical 12% is going to become reality, unfortunately. And again, that also assumes that when they finally give us a number like 12%, the real unemployment rate is far worse, because again, the way we count the jobs and those working, and they're no longer counted anymore. We never check to see if they have a job. We just assume they have a job, so now we don't count them. Right. But those same people who don't have the jobs do have an EBT card from the government, so they can buy the bare necessities every month at the grocery store. So you would never know that there's like a soup kitchen or a food line, because that day, see, as I've said many times, history repeats. The only thing that changes is technology. So prime example. We got to see soup line pictures, black and white photos, even video from back in the day of people in, you know, soup lines, and it was terrible, and all these people didn't have jobs. You could see it. Right now, there could be 4 people behind you in a row. There could be 4 people, 10 people, doesn't matter, behind you in the grocery store. And while you're in that grocery store paying with your debit card, regular debit card, non-government issued, you know, you work for your money, you're swiping it, you paid the grocery bills, the guy behind you and 7 other people behind him have the same thing. It looks just like your card, looks very similar. She's got the Visa, MasterCard logo thing, man. They're probably paying from their pocket too. They probably got jobs. That's what your conscience is going to tell you, because obviously they're in here buying stuff with the plastic credit card or debit card. Unfortunately, it's tied to the federal government's bailout of people without a job, such as the welfare state. However, in all due fair respect to those people, they didn't ask to be put in that position. They didn't ask to have their jobs cut. They didn't ask to be forced to use an EBT card. But now that they've got a taste of it, like anybody who gets a taste of it, becomes, man, how can I keep this going? I'm kind of liking this. Don't have to work as much. I still work a little bit or none. Maybe if I work a little bit, I'm still qualified, so that offsets it. It works good. I can also apply for help, for medical help from the government. I'm kind of liking this. I couldn't afford all this crap when I was making a decent salary. So then it becomes, I want to keep doing this. Why should I go look for a job at that point? Not everybody's going to have that mentality, but plenty of people will. So you have the whole welfare state. And I was just listening to Lindsey Williams yesterday, show he did that was posted yesterday. I didn't get it. Said hour 1 of 2, and I listened to the first hour, and I didn't see where the second hour was posted, but he wasn't really covering anything really new. He did mention that he was told by his friend, the elitist, that this administration, etc., they want 70% of the people to be reliant in some way or another on the government. That doesn't mean everybody has to be on food stamps, but maybe you have healthcare help from the government. Maybe this family over here has food stamp help. Maybe this family over here has something else in which the government is helping subsidize their payment, etc., on something. They want 70% is the magic number that they want. That's what Lindsey Williams said he was told recently. And by God, they're probably going to get it from the looks of things. So I want to share this with you to let you know that the Federal Reserve is already telling you it's going to 12% and higher, but we're not saying we're just a hypothetical. Yeah, okay. That is telling me why they're also giving these banks, the big banks, not the small banks, the ones that are going to fail, the big banks, giving them money, $40 billion a month. Incredible, a month. Yet Fannie and Freddie Mac, the FHA, I heard today on the news actually, $16 billion roughly in the red deficit. Oh man. And the words were already coming out of the newscasters' mouths. Is this going to lead to another taxpayer-funded bailout of FHA and this and that? And the FHA spokesperson said, this is no way, shape, or form are we looking for that. We don't want, that's not what we're after. Right, but it may not be up to you, so you can say anything you want. The government's going to bail it out anyways. So look for FHA, whatever, Freddie, Fannie, the whole thing, some kind of bailout coming soon to that. And the irony of this is that simultaneously on another news channel, they have the filthy looking man-woman thing known as Nancy Pelosi. They had John Bonner and another guy. We think we've come to a bipartisan agreement. We're going to be able to work on this deficit. We're not going to do what we did before and drag this on. We've agreed that we are going to hash this out. We're thinking December sometime, before the end of the year, we're going to have this hashed out. By the way, I gotta speed up. I'm over here talking a little bit slower than I should be driving, and because I drive an ex-police car that looks like an unmarked car with push bumpers on it, I've got a whole line of traffic behind me, so I'm gonna have to hang on a second. Let me just speed up a little bit. These cars actually start piling up behind you because they're scared to pass you. It's actually funny. Don't feel like yanking my camera down enough to show it to you, because I'll have to actually dismount it from the suction cup. I think anyway. Yeah, I will. Anyways, not that matters. That's what I wanted to share with you. Does this sound like we're at the halfway point of the recovery, and usually the second half is when it starts to get better? That's what history showed us. Any other time there was a recession, it's about 10 years long. We're at that kind of halfway point now. 2013's coming. Does this sound, and along with everything else you guys are reading and listening to, does it sound like the environment we're entering in the future sounds like a recovery? Not even kind of. Take care.